Welcome everybody out to podcast number 452. Today we're going to talk about production control, and this is going to be part 2, and we're going to specifically discuss today creating stability. Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well. I really enjoyed this little podcast series. The last one was about 16 minutes. We'll see if we can get this one done in a decent amount of time. But let me go ahead and open up with Takt control is literally the strategies and tactics that we will implement within a meeting system on a project to make sure that we're implementing and controlling the production system within a takted project. So I did a really good job there, actually. It starts with the meeting system. You have to have a weekly meeting system that's standard, where you have a time to look at the overall strategy and procurement of the project, create your weekly work plan, create the day plan, orient and inform the workers daily of what the plan is, let them prepare their crews, and then remove roadblocks. I do that in a meeting system that scales from the strategic planning and procurement meeting to the trade partner weekly tactical to the foreman daily huddle in the afternoon, the worker daily huddle in the morning. Then the crews do their preparation, and we bring all of those roadblocks to the team daily huddle somewhere around 8 or 9 a.m. So this is all a part of a system, and I explain this by saying, what is Takt control? Takt control is the implementation of these 6 principles: the super and the foreman controlling certain aspects of their work, creating stability, leveling work, removing roadblocks, installing a quality product, and managing the production. So this one right here is creating stability. Let me go through this one by one. So first of all, you cannot overemphasize, none of us can overemphasize the need for a clean, safe, and organized project. Now, I always put clean before safety. Safety, there's nothing more important than safety. It's a value, it's a priority, it's everything. I should actually stop talking about it as either one. It's just like it is the number one thing. And so I don't care what order I put it in this little sequence here. I will say, from a practical standpoint, cleanliness is the beginning of everything, even safety. So if we don't have a clean and safe and organized project, then we don't have anything. And Takt cannot thrive. Schedules cannot thrive. This podcast might as well be schedule control, episode number 2, production control, episode number 2, Takt control, episode number 2, whatever you want to call it. Anything that deals with the implementation of a construction production system, you have to have a safe, clean, and organized project. Now, the reason that is the case is because we have to reduce variation, and we need a stable environment where we can implement these other strategies and tactics. So if we don't have a safe project, we're always behind the 8 ball, always struggling to catch up, always struggling to recover a safe environment, let alone the consideration of actually dealing with injured workers, which is a tragedy. It interrupts the work, and it does not support a production system. You cannot be unsafe and go too fast and have a good production system on site. It is just impossible. Cleanliness is pretty basic. If you don't have a clean environment, then you can't see production. You can't see the crew speed. You can't see if crews are overburdened. You can't see the things that you need to see. And it's really, really frustrating because the only thing that you can see is the mess that you're tripping over. It's really quite frustrating. So you have to have a clean environment. And if you don't have a clean environment, all you see is a chaos. If you have a clean environment, you can see a lack of production. You can see unsafe things that you need to fix. You can see the morale of the team. You can see production principles, and you can see what you need to do to implement for Takt control. The other thing is organization. If things aren't organized, I don't care how well you plan your cycle times for your work, your people are going to be running around attempting to find materials, and they will be in what I call treasure hunts and really just not being very productive, right? So you have to have an organized environment as well. So those are the basics. The other thing that I would say is team balance and health. And I have an entire series. I think it's it's either in the 20 or the 40 series in the first season of the podcast. But I also will probably go back and cover some of those concepts and actually put together a full training on it. But Your team has to be healthy and balanced, which means that the team has to be composed right, broken out right. They need to be working as a team. They need to have a multiplier leader using the 5 behaviors of trust, conflict, goal setting, accountability, and performance. And they have to be rallied around a strenuous performance goal. So that team, if they have everybody in the right seats going in the right direction and they're balanced, meaning they're not overburdened, then that is the team that can implement Takt control. And so if you ever need a grading system for this, absolutely I can help you with that. But I would grade team health at least monthly to make sure I wasn't over capacity, I wasn't struggling, and the team members weren't struggling too much with covering their current allotted amount of workload. I hope I said that right. And they were able to really stay up with the project. So the team has to be balanced and healthy. The other thing is, to create stability, the team has to manage delays, meaning that as soon as delays happen and they come up, we have to be able to manage those in a way that the team is proactive. That means daily and weekly. I have seen project teams where something happens and we have this stairwell pressurization issue or smoke detector in the fire or in the elevator shafts or whatever, and they just sit on it week after week and after week, and they don't do anything with it. And so there was a really famous field director and project director that once said, "Don't sit on items like those." He would call it "don't sit on them," meaning don't let that go dormant. Make sure that you're really active. The team has to be managing delays aggressively. The other thing with creating stability is we have to create and control geographical areas. So if a trade partner is in a geographical area by tax zone, I expect them on any jobs that I run or have anything that I have to do with, I expect them to keep it clean, safe, and organized, and to manage that floor to make sure that it is organized, that other trades aren't in there damaging things, and then I will track trade damage and make sure that they're held accountable for that area. Otherwise, the actual project team, the general contractor is responsible for the whole site, and there's not enough project management positions to really go around and make sure that all of that stuff is taken care of. So we have to implement geographical control with the trade partners. The other thing with stability, and this is something that the superintendent and foreman should do as well, but this is also under the creating stability portion of this outline in this podcast, is that we have to hold start dates. And I talked about this on the last one. What I mean by this is that if we finish on a Thursday or Friday the week before, we don't move next week's activity or next Takt times activities forward in a pull system. We hold those start dates and we keep them hitting on the rhythm, even if that means there's a little bit of a buffer time between when we finish the previous work and the next work. And so people will say, what do you do with that open time? You prepare, you do layout, you finish, you finalize your inspections, you train your people, you update your equipment, you organize your gang boxes, you create quality checklists, you train your team. I think I may have already said that. It's really important. You stage materials. So holding start dates, you have to have a stable environment on a Takted project or on any project where there's a production system in order for the production system to take place and to really work well. The meeting system is a part of the stability. If you haven't created your standard meetings that work with the foreman, have the right foreman and lead persons in each of these meetings with the right agendas, with 2 screens up on the board, seeing the visuals and the schedules with the right agendas at the right times, then you don't have the amount of stability that is going to be required to scale Takt control in the right way. Now, I will say, once you have the meeting system and you have all of these other things in place, the other thing you can do to create a stable environment is to implement either Scrum or Last Planner. So when I say that, I mean that you can use a Takt plan and the work steps in a Takt plan on a weekly basis to know what that week's schedule is. But you can also use Last Planner and Scrum. If you're going to use Scrum, then you implement weekly sprints, and the work steps within a Takt plan become your backlog items. In a Last Planner system, your weekly work plan tasks come from your work steps as well, from a Takted system, and then you're able to create a weekly work plan. And that means that whether you're using Scrum or Last Planner, you constantly have a day plan and you huddle daily with the foreman. And so those are the key things that I have written down that usually become the standard tactics that a project team will implement to maintain Takt control under creating stability. Keep a safe project, a clean project, an organized project. Make sure that that team is balanced and healthy. Make sure the team is aggressively managing delays. That contractors and trade partners are controlling geographical areas themselves. That we're holding start dates and not pushing people forward in a so-called pull system. That we have a great and remarkable meeting system that's implemented with either just a normal Takt control system or Scrum or Last Planner, which will allow you to then have a day plan and a huddle. If you don't have these key things, then your project is not stable enough to implement any kind of production system, let alone a Takt production system. So I will leave these with you. If you ever need additional support to know exactly how you can implement them or what the details look like, you'll see this come out in future trainings and in future books, but you can always call us or email me at jason@elevateconstructionist.com. So really hope you've enjoyed this today, and I just want to say on we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.